Fantastic panel. Let me hand over to our next keynote speaker, Francois de Toit,
yes.
To take us up to lunch. Thank you so much, Francois.
Thank you very much.
And here's your clicker.
Thank you. Let me just put this aside. Can everybody hear me? Okay, perfect. I'm going to try my best not to keep you too long from lunch. But I do think it's important that we sort of discuss some of these topics that, and I think it's very relevant to the audience in the manufacturing industry in South Africa. And how can we as a company, as Rockwell, help you grow your manufacturing business and take it sort of forward into that fourth industrial revolution. Okay, so I'm Francois de Toit. Oh, the S got us. I'm the information solutions leader for Rockwell Automation South Africa. I look after the whole of Africa. So for those of you who don't know us, I think some of you in the manufacturing industry will probably be more know our brand, Alan Bradley, a little bit more than they do Rockwell Automation. Alan Bradley has been around for over 100 years and is born out of manufacturing. And I think the important bit for us and our customers to understand about us is that we're a manufacturing organization ourselves. We're a global manufacturer. We've got a multiple of plants manufacturing our hardware across the globe, right? So we understand the process of manufacturing, right? So Rockwell decided to embark on this journey a couple of years ago, and it was born out of our own need to optimize and digitize our own operations, right? We started investing in technology. We started investing in software platforms that we're now providing to our customers, but was trying to test it within our own environment to make sure that we actually could get the gains, the productivity gains, the quality gains, the reduction cost, etc., before we push this out to our customer. And that is part of our strategy, right, is to bring this connected enterprise to life. And that's what we're trying and we're doing at the moment with a number of customers across the globe. So, and that's why we believe nobody's better positioned to bring your operational technology and your information technology together than us, right? We've got a very deep understanding of that OT layer. We've been playing that game, like I said, for over 100 years. We've also got a very deep understanding of the IT layer. We've made a significant investment in that in terms of our strategy and where our company is spending money and time and R&D effort is bridging that gap, right? So for us, that is a key focus in terms of where we're going and where we would like to take our customers. But in order for us to do that, we sort of decided, okay, well, we need some sort of principles or guidelines in terms of how do we engage with our customers and help them on the same journey, right? So we came up with these 5 principles, right? Buyer scope, value-driven, systems engineered, innovation-powered, and industry solutions. Right. What we're going to focus on for the first bit is just on the first 2, right? And we're going to combine those 2 for a very good reason. Buyer scoped in value-driven. What does that mean? I've heard in the previous panel discussion when we sort of talked about cost, right? How do you justify the cost of some of these investments that companies need to make? You have to start with business value, right? And we have to, as Rockwell, be buyer scoped. In other words, we need to have a laser focus on what is the value to your business. What is the value that you're trying to achieve in your company? Where are your critical use cases that will add the most value for the least amount of cost? We talked about, there was a mention about MVPs. But we need to understand what that scope is. And we have to have a laser focus on what it is you as an organization is trying to achieve. Sorry, I'm just going to move this down. In order for us to help you achieve that. So what we've done, right, and I'm going to do this through presentation, in terms of buyer scope, we've personified this, and we're going to take you through the journey of a guy called Henry. I'm going to take you through the journey of a guy called Henry today, who is in the manufacturing space. He's the VP of operations, and some of the tackles or the problems or challenges that he's facing every single day, and how we might be able to assist him. Sorry, a bit of a sketch. So, as I said before, VP of operations, multinational organization, and what Henry does every single morning when he wakes up, right, is he worries about production. Can I meet my production targets? In other words, can I get my product to market, right? Can I get the product to market at the correct quality? Can I get it to market within the time frame that I needed to get to? Either to beat my competitors or to grab the market share that I'm looking for, right? Henry typically has the power, right, within his organization to say yes or no to budgets. How is he spending his money on improving his manufacturing operation? What has happened, though, is people like a Henry typically would live in that OT environment. They'd be more concerned about the machines, what kind of machines they're investing, that capital investment that they're doing. But what has happened with digital transformation, people like a Henry needs to be cognizant of what's going on in the world of technology, right? Meaning he's moving a lot closer to the CIOs of the organization. He's moving a lot closer to the CISOs, the Chief Information Security Officers, the Chief Data Officers of the organizations. Because in order to realize that dream of digital transformation, Henry needs to understand how is he going to transform his manufacturing or his operational technology layer in order to get the most value out of it. So Henry's got a number of value drivers, right, that focuses him in terms of what he wants to do and how he sees he's going to achieve or get the maximum out of his manufacturing operation, right. The first focus area for Henry would be production, right. That is what, like I said, the morning he wakes up, this is what Henry thinks about. How am I going to meet my production targets, my quality targets, and ultimately faster time to market with my product, right? So Henry needs to understand, how can I manage that entire process? How can I gain access to information about how well my production is doing? How can I gain access to what is the quality of not just the material of the product I'm making or manufacturing, but also understanding what is the quality of the raw material that I might be using, or the parts that I'm buying in, that I'm assembling, and how do I manage that process throughout the entire production. So because I want to meet my production, I want to lower my costs, and that's the first value driver for Henry. So the first business problem he's trying to solve, right, is how do I gain access or visibility into actionable insights in my actual production facility. The second bit, or value driver for Henry, is around assets. Now, everybody in this room will understand that manufacturing is probably the biggest consumer of high cost, of high value in the world, right? We make significant capital layouts to buy the robotics, the machines, the presses, the manufacturing equipment that we use to manufacture the product that we sell, right? Ultimately, the big question then is, how do I gain and make sure that what I get out of that asset is not just according to the OEM spec, but it's according to my production requirements? How can I make sure that that asset is as available as I need it to be to meet my production targets? And ultimately, how can I extend the life of that asset, right? How do I make sure that I'm maintaining this asset in such a fashion that I get the maximum out of that capital investment that I've made? So that is Henry's second value driver, is managing his assets and making sure that he's getting the most out of them, right? The third value driver for Henry is around compliance, right? I think a lot of companies these days, there's a lot of focus around corporate social responsibility. There's a lot of focus around how manufacturing organizations are impacting the environment, right? So from a compliance perspective, and this is not just compliant in terms of quality or contractual, but this is a compliant in terms of, in certain countries, in terms of, depending on the manufacturing you're in, there's legislation that's governing how you are supposed to manufacture. But ultimately, a lot of these companies have got a massive focus around sustainability. So how it's not just a case of my product needs to be sustainable. In other words, my product needs to be able to be recycled. Whatever the case would be, I need to be able to get the product back in or reuse it or refurbish it. But it's also around the manufacturing process. How do I control my energy usage, right? How do I control, if I use water, how do I control and manage the wastewater that's going out of there? What is that impact on the environment? Is there any compliance liability issues that I need to be looking at? So that's Henry's third value driver. Right, is to ensure how his organization is going to be compliant. The last one is around transformation. And one of the panel discussions, comments in the panel discussion previously was, how do we do this, right? Why do some of these things, we've implemented a very smart solution and we figure out the Excel-based solution work better, right? Apart from just taking small steps, transformation is not a siloed approach, right? It cannot be sitting within one department where we're transforming. Transformation needs to be an organizational approach, It needs to be driven and adopted. There needs to be adoption and change management programs in place. But the big thing where a lot of manufacturing companies are struggling, where Rockwell is certainly well positioned to assist on this, is having an experienced partner that is willing to walk with you every single step of that transformation journey, that has done it before, that has proven that it adds value, and that is willing to invest in you as an organization to say, we will sit there, we will be your trusted partner, right, to help you on this transformation journey. Because like I said, we've done it many times before. So, how do we pull all of this? I mean, Henry's got production, asset compliance, transformation, all of these sort of value drivers in his organization that he knows is going to add value. He just doesn't quite understand how. Well, he speaks to people like Rockwell, right? And what Rockwell has done is, and we'll get to the sort of third and fourth leg of our sort of principles, we've built a holistic solution that is system engineered. What does that mean, system engineered? In other words, it is engineered in such a way, the architecture of our solutions in such a way that they are all integrated, fully integrated, and is scalable. So we can start from quite small, the MVP type projects, and help you scale it across multiple factories once we've proven that value, right? And the big thing is it's innovation power. So for us, it's a case of, as we sit and we work with you in that transformation journey, we help you build those innovation use cases, we help you execute those innovation use cases based on our experience, right, and what we've done with other customers in similar industries. So at the core of how we help our customers is the connected enterprise production system. So what Rockwell has done is we've looked at all the aspects of running a manufacturing organization. We've taken that systems engineered approach about how do we put all of these, call it solutions, together in such a way that we can address whether it's a niche problem or whether it's an enterprise problem. We're able to execute from small to large and scale it to large. And I'm going to take a quick time. I don't have a lot of time left. I'm going to take a quick couple of minutes to take you through the various aspects of this. When it comes to the first one, right, the machine, cell, line, and plant design, this is before we've even started a factory, or you're doing a retrofit of a manufacturing facility, or an expansion of a manufacturing facility. You need to be able to have the solutions in place, right, to go and design, simulate, and emulate that factory before you've even built it, right? Do you understand, is the layout correct, right? Are we catering, is the product going to fit? Do we have enough space for all the assembly points, right? Before we even build that factory. So by the time we actually look at building and starting to commission, we know that what we are putting in place is actually going to meet the requirements that we have. The next bit is, and this is Rockwell's sort of stock and trade, right? That level 1, right? The intelligent devices, right? That's the PLCs, the sensors sitting on your sort of automation layer. We need that because this is the place where all your operational data is born, right? Everything about your manufacturing process, all the data that explains what is going on, what has happened, and potentially when we analyze it, what might happen or is going to happen, all that data is born in this level 1 layer of intelligent devices, right? And one of the things I had a lot of discussions with people recently around that. If we want to realize sort of Industry 4.0 in South Africa, there's this concept of smart and connected, right? And this is where that layer comes in. We can't do anything if we don't have the data. We can't analyze it, right? So I start with that layer of intelligent devices. Then we move into sort of the controlling computer. This is where we orchestrate all this data, right? So this is where this data gets aggregated into, provided context. We provide context in this layer. And in certain cases where we've got an HMI, we've got an interface with a human that needs to be able to interface with the actual asset itself, those are all provided in this layer, right? Very important, though, on this layer is high speed, is the ability to cater for high-speed data, right? A lot of the solutions out there at the moment, it's great. But in certain cases, you want to be able to analyze data in milliseconds, right? To understand what's going on. At the same time, you also don't necessarily want to analyze that data in milliseconds on the edge. You want to maybe push that into a cloud solution, right? Because you want to use the power of sort of that computing power that is available there, and you need to be able to transport that data very fast across that. Now, control and communication layer does that. The next bit is now we're looking at actionable data that is used on a daily basis to run and ensure that manufacturing operation is as effective as possible, right? We're talking about your MES solutions, your manufacturing execution solutions. How do we make sure that our assets are performing? Are we tracking the OEE? Do we understand if our OEE, overall equipment effectiveness, is low, what is it causing? What is causing it, right? Is it an availability issue? Is it a quality issue? What is it? Is it a throughput issue? We need to be able to understand it in order to make those decisions. We need to be able to analyze all the data that we've got, not just from the production systems, but from finished product to raw material, or from raw material to finished product, to understand what is our quality of our product, what is impacting the quality of our products. And then in the middle is where it all sort of gets pulled together, right? And whether this is then again hosted on-premise or on the cloud, in your own sort of instance of a cloud solution, cloud-based solution, you do need a data platform, right? That is not just a storage place, but it's a place where all that data, raw data, then gets contextualized in such a way that we can analyze it, right? For those of you who've ever embarked on a sort of analytics project, for instance, for predictive maintenance, will understand that just taking raw data out of a machine or an asset and throwing it into a cloud solution and trying to analyze it is going to give you a lot of false positives and a lot of false results because there's no context to the data. So we need a data platform that can access all the data, break down all the silos within the organization, and provide you with one contextualized view of a production line, an asset, a process, in such a way that we're able to analyze it. We can compare apples with apples. And the last bit, and I think this is where the true business value comes in, right? This is where the decision support comes in. This is where the business transformation happens, right? Is at this top layer, while we're talking about analytics and data access. It's providing the right information in the right manner to the people who need to make decisions to improve the business, right? So we don't want to flood people with a whole load of information, but we want to apply some of those technologies like machine learning and digital twins to analyze that data and give a person who's making a decision around the manufacturing those actionable insights, right? If I change this, this is the impact on the quality of the product. If I do this, this is the impact on the quality of production, right? We need to be able to give you that information, right, to run the operation as effective as possible. So that leads us obviously to the last bit. Sorry, there was one. It's around industry solutions. So what Rockwell has done, and I've showed it in that previous sort of framework that we've got, is we've packed together some of our best technologies, some of our best partner technologies, and again, in a system engineered, completely integrated way to address any of those requirements, whether it's production, whether it's asset management, whether it's around compliance, right? You need data to be able to manage any of those processes, right? And then just as a quick example, and I think this talks to itself, and you can come and speak to me, we've got references for all of these use cases, right? But if you think as an organization in your own environment, what would a 5 to 20% increase in your overall equipment effectiveness mean? What does that mean in terms of the amount of product you can actually manufacture? What is an increase in your yield? What is an increase in your worker productivity? If we start using augmented reality and sort of other worker technology to increase, that is for you, and I can see 2 minutes, that is for you to decide, right? But this is clear. This is not, we've made this up. Like I said, this is internally within Rockwell. This is our customer references. These are real life and real life examples of what we can do. And if you think about a hot topic at the moment, specifically South Africa, what does a 2 to 13% decrease in energy consumption mean to an organization, right? Not just to the grid or to the country, but specifically to you as an organization where it's becoming far and far more it's not as cheap as it used to be, right? And this is in a nutshell. This is what we at Rockwell do. And we did it all through, like I said, through our integrated connected enterprise production system. That's it. 2 minutes left.